What's up, everybody? March Madness is here. We got brackets.
Brackets.
I have mine filled out.
I got mine filled out as well. Yep, that's all you need to know. Kentucky.
Between a couple of brackets.
Yes.
Very clever there.
I know. Well, that's how I roll. You know me.
Well, we'll spend this week's episode of Extra Points talking about how far we think the Badgers might go, back to the Final Four maybe, and we'll talk about whether you're taking Kentucky or the field or who else is going to be in the Final Four.
Stephen F. Austin.
Oh, you got a little Cinderella going.
I got Cinderella going, baby.
And then we'll wrap it up with maybe talk a little Chris Borland.
Wow, that was something. Yes.
Early retirement.
Is that gonna be the beginning of the end for the NFL? I don't think so.
I don't quite think so either, but it is interesting. So we'll
It
cover
is.
all that and more coming up right after this in this week's episode of Extra Points. Hey everybody, welcome to Extra Points. This is where we usually talk about local sports, but at the water cooler this week, if you're not talking about brackets, then
If you're not talking bracketology, then forget it. Go somewhere else. Watch another video.
Might as well not even go to work.
No, there's no point in it because they only lose like $1 gazillion every year of people filling out NCAA brackets, and we're no better here at the Gazette.
I just realized that I flashed my bracket. I still got like 2 spots here.
Well, you can't. That's not going to win you anything. You got to fill it out completely. And again, my bracket is done. It's right here. It's all you need to know. Kentucky.
Open bracket, Kentucky closed bracket.
Yes, exactly.
Trying to go 40-0.
40-0. I hope not.
Let's start with the Badgers first.
All right.
We will stay local here to begin with. Obviously, Wisconsin making the huge run last year. I think you and I were pretty big naysayers that they weren't going to get that run done, but there they were. It was pretty awesome, and now they're back as a #1 seed, and that would mean they're the favorite to get through the West Regional.
And it's kind of funny when you look at their bracket. It's very similar to last year.
Right.
Oregon's there, Baylor's there, Arizona's there, and hopefully the chips fall like they did last year. They beat all those teams because that puts them back in the Final Four. But I think when you look at it, unless Jackson can come back healthy, maybe not 100%, but at least give them some minutes, I just think their lack of depth on the bench is going to be their downfall. And I hate to say it, but I kind of like Arizona to come out of that regional. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, obviously, I hope it's Bucky, but my
Do you
heart.
realize how weird that is to hear you say that?
It is weird.
You're pretty much the biggest hater of Trayvon Jackson in the country.
But I'm also trying to use reverse psychology here. So I figure if I say Wisconsin won't get to the Final Four, they'll get there. So there's no way Wisconsin gets to the Final Four. You heard it here first.
I tend to just really disagree with you because
Good.
I think that I don't need to use reverse psychology because I'm not a believer in those weird things. But I mean, they've played with 5.5, 6 guys here for the last month. They've done well. Bronson Koenig stepped up and has been a huge contributor as the point guard.
Oh my goodness.
I don't think you need a huge depth in this tournament. You need to win 2 games a week to get there. This is a team that doesn't foul anybody, so I'm not very leery of them getting in any big foul trouble where the depth would be a main concern. So to me, this 5, and if Duke continues to contribute offensively like he has over the last week or so, to me, I like Wisconsin's road back to the Final Four for the second straight year.
Did Sam Decker play in the championship game? Did he play?
He didn't need to, apparently.
He was a non-factor. Where's Sam at? Come on, Sam. Let's go. This is tournament. Pick up your game a little bit.
I think as they get deeper, they're going to need him to play well.
He's got to.
They've also showed they can win without him playing.
He really was a non-factor Sunday, and that can't happen. I mean, he's too good of a player, and they rely on him too much to just disappear in big games because if they get to Arizona, let's face it, Sam Decker's going to be needed.
But they have all they have all those parts. He has had some big games this year, and he will probably still have another big one or 2 in the tournament. They've got the point guard play. They've got the big man who can do everything in Frank Kaminsky. Josh Gosler's defense on Sunday was ridiculous, and it has been throughout his career. But I mean, really,
the play going out of bounds, where he probably was out of bounds, but that play where he threw it up behind him and kept the ball alive, and then Valentine threw it to one of our guys, that was nice for him to do that. But no, I mean, Gosser, he kind of, epitomizes what that team's all about. Senior leadership, a lot of heart and a lot of grit, and kind of that refusing to lose mentality that, Bose bestowed upon him, and obviously Gosser kind of follows suit. But, when you look at it in a long-range thing, I mean, if they get to Arizona, Arizona's been playing as well as anybody. That's my biggest concern. North Carolina, in a third-round game, certainly their length and athleticism could give them problems, but there's no way I want to lose a tournament game to Roy Williams. I mean, that would.
I don't think Bo does.
That would wreck the rest of my year.
Are you worried about Coastal Carolina?
I'm not worried about the Chandeliers, or what are they?
Chanticleers?
Chanticleers, yeah. Well, Chandeliers, whatever. I mean,
Foghorn Leghorn?
they'll be, I'm sure, competitive for a half, but I would think Wisconsin would put them away in the second half. And then it was Oklahoma State or Oregon.
Yeah.
Oregon they saw last year. Everyone thought they would give them troubles. And
we watched them Friday night. Remember that?
Badgers,
Joe Young?
Yeah, ran them out of the gym, and Arizona ran them out of the gym last Friday night. So I think it's a pretty good bracket for Wisconsin. I really do. I don't think there's a team in there that certainly scares you other than Arizona, and obviously they've proven they can play with them, and they've got the same cast of characters this year. So, let's get to the Final Four, and then we can worry about Kentucky at that point.
North Carolina, I mean, 4 seed, 11 losses.
Yeah.
I was looking at it last night. All 11 of those losses are to teams that are in the tournament.
Oh, yeah. I think
so that's interesting.
Second toughest schedule in the country.
But still, I mean, if you're losing 11 times.
Yeah, well, exactly.
And the Badgers are better than every one of those teams except maybe Duke.
Right. And, again, it's a one-game tournament. I mean, and that's why everyone, but let's say Kentucky has an off-night shooting, or some team gets incredibly hot from the outside and hits, I saw East Troy hit 11 threes in the first half the other night, and the one guy looked at the bench at the 6th one and went, I don't know what to say. The ball's going in the basket. Maybe, that's what Wisconsin needs, is one of those games where, Kentucky, somebody just shoots lights out against them, and they don't have an answer for it. We hope. I don't think that'll happen.
Well, I mean, legitimately.
Yeah.
Chance to win the national championship.
For the Badgers?
What would you put it at?
20%.
Well, that's...
and I think most pundits have it as they're the second favorite behind Kentucky. Kentucky, obviously, you can right now take Kentucky against the field, and most people would probably take Kentucky. But I think the one team that everyone says can play with Kentucky because of the way they structure things, it's Wisconsin. They got shooters, they got a good inside game, and they play defense. And, that's a good combination. But let's face it, if Kentucky's playing at their best, they're a low-level NBA team right now.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of where they're at.
I just would really love to see that game.
I would
just
too.
think it would be one of the best games that we've seen in years, perhaps.
I agree, and it's too bad they're in the same bracket. I mean, it would be great to see it at the Final Four, but I'd like to see it on a Monday night in the championship game. I mean, I think that would set all kinds of records for viewership and everything else.
Let's go through the rest of these regions and
Okay.
see what you think there.
All right.
We'll finish up with Kentucky since
Okay.
we both seem to have them in that final
Yep.
slot. But let's look in the South here. Duke, the number 1 seed, number 2, Gonzaga. What do you
I like
see
the
there?
Zags.
Me too.
I like the Zags. Nothing against Duke, but Duke's the last few years has found a way to kind of fall out of the tournament early on, and I can kind of see that happening again this year, whether it's San Diego State in round 2 or Utah possibly.
Stephen F. Austin, your boys from Stephen F.
SF Austin, baby. They got a lot of starters back with a great record, and the Zags got everything you want in a tournament team. They got size, they got kids that can shoot, experienced, and this may be the year that Mark Few finally gets to the Final Four.
Well, and that's my biggest concern is that with all of the success that Gonzaga's had over the years, they don't even get to the Elite Eight.
No.
But I'm trying to go off of what I said last year. Wisconsin's never been to the Final Four under Bo Ryan.
Nope.
And I said, so I'm never putting them in there. Well, they proved me wrong, so I've got Gonzaga going. I've got them going all the way to the national championship game and losing to Kentucky there.
The Zags?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Zags going there too.
They got Kevin Pangos. He's a really good guard. Kyle Wiltjer is kind of a big guy, but he can shoot from outside. They got size. I don't have them going to the championship game. I think I like Virginia coming out of the other one if Alexander's healthy, which they're going to try a different splint on his hand to see if they can. Anderson.
Anderson, he
Yeah.
was a non-factor in the tournament, the ACC tournament, just because he was playing one-handed. But if they can solve that and do that, I mean, Virginia, let's face it, they've been rock solid all year. They play great defense, and Villanova just doesn't. I know they're good, but they don't play anybody. I mean, they don't. Who do they play? Marquette. Oh yeah, Marquette, Providence. Providence is good, but DePaul. I mean, they don't. I look at, who they play, and not so much, what they're going to do in the tournament.
I like Villanova because I like guards and superstars, and they have one in Arcidiacono. And so I think that there will be a bracket contest out there somewhere that I put Villanova winning it all in it because I want to do something different.
What's the name again?
Ryan Arcidiacono.
Diacono.
Diacono?
Diacono, okay. Yeah. That's like Giannis, kind of.
A little bit. It's long. Yeah.
It's long, okay.
So, I think they could come out of there, but I think the East, you could pick any team on there that wasn't the 13, 14, 15, or 16, and I could give you an argument as to why they're in the Final Four.
I would agree, yes.
And so that's the region where I'm just going to pick something weird.
Okay.
Because I've got a 1, a 2. I don't want another 1 or 2. I don't want to be all chalk, so I'm picking something weird there. And you can feel free to call me crazy, but I've got Sparty in the Final Four.
I don't buy it. No. No. Can't buy that, but I mean, it's Izzo time. That's probably a good reason.
If the ref looks down the line and sees that Gosser's on the line, Michigan State's
probably wins
the
that
tournament. Game. They beat the last 5 games. They beat Maryland, Purdue, I think Indiana, Wisconsin. All 5. If they would have won 5 in a row, it would have been 5 straight over Big Ten tournament teams.
I just don't buy their guard play. I don't. I think that's their downfall. I think that's what knocks them out of the tournament. Georgia's long and lengthy and could give them troubles in that opening round game, and I just can't see them beating Virginia in the second game. Now, again, for the Big Ten, I hope we're wrong. I hope Michigan State acquits itself well and does make a run because, let's face it, the Big Ten needs all the support it can get.
I also like Michigan State against Virginia because Virginia, like you said, Anderson's been hurt. They kind of stumbled here lately. Michigan State, I feel like, is playing their best basketball at the right time.
But I think the key there is Michigan State plays its best when it can get out a little bit in transition. I mean, we saw that against Wisconsin, a couple of steals, a dunk. They're up 11. You don't do that against Virginia. Virginia plays lockdown and plays great defense, and it's a game that they'll probably keep in the 40s or 50s, and I think that hurts Sparty. I just think, it's a grind, but I think in the end Virginia is just too good for Sparty to beat them. But let's face it, I've been wrong a gazillion times.
Well, I just want to do something different. I don't want to have all
way to go out on a limb. That is a limb with a 7 seed, considering Connecticut made it last year as a 8 or 9 seed and won it all.
It seems like every year there's been somebody down there.
I could see Michigan State winning a game, but that's it.
Well, that's unfortunate for my bracket because I've got them winning 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, well, I think in the rest of that bracket, if you look at it, it is
like
pretty
Northern
wide open.
Iowa.
Yeah, people do like Northern Iowa. Again, I think strength of schedule hurts them, but maybe they'll make a run and people could.
Providence is an interesting.
I don't know where Northern Iowa is, other than Northern Iowa.
Cedar
Rapids or Cedar Falls.
Yeah,
one of those two.
Okay. I was supposed to go there one year to cover the University of Wyoming playing there, which is interesting because now they're playing each other in the bracket. I didn't make it to that game because of a snowstorm.
Do the Cowboys have a chance?
They absolutely have a chance. When you got Larry Nance on your team, you got a chance. Big shout out to the Cowboys. That's what. Look, that was one of these pockets I don't have filled in yet because I'm trying to figure out if I can talk myself into it or not.
Well, good luck with that too. The West.
You want to go Midwest?
Or Midwest, yes.
Who could presents the biggest challenge to Kentucky? Who we most said that we've got coming out of there?
You know what? When I look at it here, I'd like to say the Irish, but
don't trust them.
I don't trust them either, especially in the postseason. Kansas, there's too helter-skelter. It's going to take somebody that can just flat out shoot the ball and has a couple of go-to players. And if you look at it, maybe it's Maryland. Maybe it's the Terps. They got 2 quality players that can score, and they're going to play hard-nosed defense. They can rebound, but I think you could take the other 15 teams in that bracket and combine them with their best players and still not beat Kentucky. But
well, that would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
I think the answer is Notre Dame. I just don't know that they're going to get there to have the opportunity.
I agree.
Because
I would agree with you on that.
With Mike Bray, they barely ever make the second weekend of the tournament.
The one team everybody's kind of looking at is Texas. They're long, they're athletic. They lost 7 of their last 10 games, which doesn't bode well. But evidently they had a couple kids hurt. They're back. And who was it? Rick Barnes, their coach?
That sounds right.
He's got some NCAA experience. So they said that could be a team that could test Kentucky, but they got a long way to go to get there. They may not even win their opener against Butler.
Right,
the Bulldogs may beat them. So I think that's Kentucky's. That's by far the easiest.
I'd like to see Notre Dame play them. They're efficient.
And they can score. And they can get hot. I mean, there's not many better three-point shooting teams than Notre Dame. Grant's an All-American.
I just don't have them get in there. You know what I got there? Wichita State.
The Shockers. I could see that. Shockers, but I could see the Shockers losing to Indiana because Indiana's another helter-skelter team. You don't know who's going to show up. But
this bracket's going to be a mess.
It is going to be a mess.
But I'm just going to stick with it anyway.
Yeah, I got it. Kentucky's coming out of that region.
All right, so you got Kentucky over who?
I got
Virginia?
Kentucky over
Virginia. You said, I think, right?
No, Virginia's on the other side. I've got
in
the championship. Yeah, I like Kentucky versus Virginia in the championship.
And then you got Gonzaga and Arizona.
Yep.
And I got Kentucky over Gonzaga, and I've got Wisconsin and Michigan State.
Wisconsin and Michigan State in the finals.
Well, no. I have them. Those are my other
Final
four
Who's
teams.
in the final?
I've got Kentucky over Gonzaga.
In the finals. Okay. All right. That's doable.
I think. Give me another sleeper. Stephen F. Austin, is that
Stephen
really
F.
your
Austin
thing, or are you
is
joking
one.
about
No. Everything I've read about and heard about him is they're kind of like San Diego State was a couple years ago. Senior dominated. They're 29-5. Their losses have been close to good teams, and all the experts were high on him. And then I think not so much maybe a shock, but certainly North Carolina. I mean, let's face it, there's as much talent as that team. Other than Kentucky, no team's got more All-Americans, high school All-Americans than North Carolina does. So.
JP Tokoto?
Tokoto from Menominee Falls, yes.
I like. We taped this on Tuesday, so this might just be completely irrelevant by the time people watch it. But I'm watching BYU closely tonight. I think if they win, Sweet 16 BYU.
Okay, all right.
And I also have UCLA. I like the 11 seeds this year.
Oh, UCLA shouldn't even be in the tournament.
Well, that's what every year there seems to be that one team where they shouldn't be in it, and all of a sudden they run off a win.
They won't beat Larry Brown and SMU. SMU is good. SMU's got a good team. SMU is good, yes.
Yeah, I'll take you up on that.
And he used to coach at UCLA, so.
Shot of Blackberry on the line.
All right.
I got UCLA.
I got SMU.
Got SMU.
I got SMU.
That's it. You've got the entire bracket broke down now. We've answered all of your questions.
That's all you need to know,
Pick
folks,
Kentucky.
right there. Take Kentucky.
Actually, if you want to win, probably pick somebody
Don't take
else.
the Wildcats.
Go out on a limb and just hope against all hope.
Take Coastal Carolina and hope that they can run the table and
put North Carolina in there.
Yes, yeah. Put the Tar Heels in there, right?
And stranger things have happened.
You must be concussed.
Well, I did get fouled really hard last night in our City League basketball game. Somebody strapped me.
Will you be retiring like Chris Borland?
No, I feel all right about it. I wasn't diagnosed, so I think I'm all right. I kept playing. But yeah, that was weird last night.
And I think the more I read about it, good for him. I mean, it's his choice. People are now whining, saying he should get back his signing bonus. But come on, he played the year.
Anybody who is like arguing against him should just
go sit
stop
in a room.
talking.
Go sit in a room with Jim McMahon, or go sit in a room with some of those guys that have all those symptoms.
Talk to Junior Seau's family.
Yeah, I mean, talk Dave Durison's family. Talk to any of those people and say, hey, what's Chris Borland doing? He's only 24 years old. It's his life. He can do what he wants with it. And if he wants to retire and go back to school and get his degree, good for him.
Well, we were talking last night too. He's probably got a job anywhere in Wisconsin.
He probably does. He may end up back on Paul Chris' staff. Yeah. Who knows? I mean, but I give him credit. But do I think it's the start of this happening? I don't know. The NFL came out today and said that concussions were down again last year for the third year in a row. They're taking more protective measures to ensure safety of their players. And let's face it, it's a gazillion-dollar a year industry. The NFL's not going anywhere. People.
There's so many people out there that will value the money over something like this that it's not going to go away.
No, it's not.
It's not going to.
Ronnie Lott said it best.
Maybe it will spearhead some more guys thinking this way.
Right.
But there will always be others. There's hundreds of college kids out there right now that never got their NFL chance. That if they would have. They would have taken.
They would have, if they'd have said, "You'll be watering and feeding me 3 times a day when I'm 50 years old. I don't care. I want to play in the NFL." And Ronnie Lott said it best. He said, "Put on a helmet, run against as hard as you can into the garage door about 25 times." He said, "That's what it's like to play in an NFL game." And you can say what you want about better helmets, better protection, tackling, proper ways. It's still a very violent sport, and it's always going to be a violent sport. But there's not a bigger draw anywhere in the U.S. than the NFL.
Yeah, I think it's something maybe we'll be talking about in 10 or 20 years and say, okay, he did that back then. Did it shift a lot of players away or not? I mean, it's still going to be here, but did a lot of players start retiring earlier?
I mean,
we saw Patrick Willis do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you start thinking maybe they were talking about it in the locker room, and it just became.
I mean, does a second grader need to be playing tackle football? Maybe not. Maybe maybe we think about the age that we start putting pads on kids. Maybe it goes from 3rd grade to 6th grade. I'm okay with that. And as a parent, you know, if my son were to come up again, I would certainly think about it before I just said, yeah, go play football. I mean, I would probably look into it a little bit more and see what's best for him. And I think a lot of parents are doing that. And I think that's where you're going to see the change is the age that kids start playing tackle football.
We will keep an eye on that.
Yes, we will. But don't worry, people. The NFL's going nowhere.
I don't think people are too worried.
No, I don't think so.
One quick note: we'll start the all-area teams this week for basketball. Sunday's edition, we'll have the local area girls player of the year and all-area team, along with all the all-conference.
And it was tough. It was a tough choice. There were some tough choices on it.
To be honest, we're still even discussing it
as we film this. Yes.
Yeah. You'll see.
Yeah.
You'll see Sunday, and it should be fun. We'll talk a little bit. There's some non-seniors on this team, so there's plenty of talent that will still be around in the girls' basketball scene here moving forward.
Yep, exactly.
So look for that on Sunday. Don't forget to let us know what you think of the show. Subscribe and leave us a review. Good, hopefully, bad,
indifferent,
whatever. If you don't like Bears bracket that just says Kentucky only, that's
tell me my bracket's stupid.
And you can email us at sports@gazetteextra.com or find us on Twitter. We'll be ramping up here for spring sports in the coming weeks, and we'll be keeping tabs on our brackets. So hopefully yours don't get messed up as bad as mine probably will on Thursday and Friday, and we'll see you next week to rehash where we're at.
Take care, everybody. Go Badgers.